Hello, welcome back to my channel. And the discuss is still on. Remember that this is where you get inspired. This is where you get blessed and motivated to live your best life. But the things I share and by what the Spirit of God places in my heart to share with you. Hey you, if you're not yet subscribed, please hit the red subscribe button and subscribe so that you're the first to get notified whenever I put up a new video. And click on the notification bell button so that you get notified too whenever I put up something new. So I don't know what the title of this yet, but let's go. Many times we don't know whether to use the giftings that we have because we don't even know if we're gifted sometimes. Like, yeah, there were many times I think in my life I was just struggling with what is my gift and what is not even my gift. How do I start up this whole journey of gift and talent and not talent? Is something really a talent that I have, or is just something that I have seen and I admire and I want to pick up? So where does it start? And at the point where I realize that I have a gift, why am I willing to use it and why am I not willing to use it? And all that. And we'll just be looking at the parable of the talents, and we can see how this is us or not us and how it reflects in our lives generally. So we see in the parable of the talents that the master gave 1 talent to one person, he gave 2 talents to another person, and he gave 5 talents to the next person. The master doesn't tell us why he gives these different individuals different talents. He doesn't give us the reason behind one person having 1 talent, another person having 2, and another person having 5. But he gives them the talent anyways, and he leaves. And this is kind of what is playing out in our world. This is the reality of our world and of human beings versus God. He has given us different talents. Some people 1, some people 2, some people 5. And the list goes on and on and on. Different people, different talent, different capacities. He's just shared it that way based on his wisdom. We don't know why, but that's what he's done. So the question now is not with the master, because he's done his part. He's giving the talents to the people he wants to give the talents to. He's distributed it according to his divine wisdom. Maybe when you get to heaven, you might ask him why. All right, but he's distributed this gift and talent according to his divine wisdom. But we see from that parable that the person with the 1 talent, after the master had gone, took the talent and buried it. He put the talent just right under the ground. And what was his reason? He said the master was wicked and unkind. He said put a lot of allegations in the master. He said the master was wicked and that he gave him only 1 talent. He kind of felt like the talent the master gave him was too small for whatever reason. And because he felt it was too small, that deterred him from using it at all. He didn't use it at all. He just buried it. And when the master returned, he was pissed at this man. We don't know whether he's young or old, but he was pissed at this man. He asked him why he didn't use his talent. He gave his reasons. The master was wicked and all. And the master called him wicked. I mean, why wouldn't you use the talents? If you knew that you didn't want to use it, you should have put it to usury or something and given it to people who wanted to use it, and life goes on. And so the master put him away. And that's what we're talking about. So many of us people have talents that God has put in us for whatever reason. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 5. So I see a lot of people angry with themselves, they're angry with God. They feel like God hasn't given them like a lot in their lives. He hasn't given them like a lot of giftings and things like that. And this anger most times stems from they looking at other people and what God has given other people. And they feel like whatever it is they have just fades away, in the face of what this other person has. And that's where the problem is. God doesn't expect you to give back what he hasn't given you. God evaluates every person based on what he's giving them. So the person who had 5 talents kind of expected 5. He brought 5 back more. The person with 2, and God brought 2. And God said, "Well done. You both have done well." He didn't ask the person who had 2 talents, "Why did you bring 2? Why didn't you bring 5?" Because God is not unjust. God expects you to be fruitful with whatever it is he's giving you. He doesn't expect you to do more than he has given you the capacity to do. And so that's why when you sit around and start to compare yourself with someone, one of the questions you should ask is, what capacity has God given them? Don't sit around and say, he is able to do this and do that and do that and do this other thing, and he's not broken. Why can't I do all these things? It's because he is giving you a different capacity. He's given them a different capacity. So he says he's giving one 5, he's giving another 2, and another person 1. And this was the problem with the man with the 1 talent. He knew that God gave somebody else 2 talents. He also knew that God gave somebody else 5 talents. And this was the bone of contention. I can almost bet that if God had given the 3 of them 1 talent each, he would have used this talent. His problem was simply the fact that he was given 1 and other people were given 2 or 5. Other people were given higher than he was given. And so he buried it. And that's what so many people are doing, whether young or old. You look at someone who can do about 5 things, and you just feel so reluctant. You feel so intimidated to use the talents and the giftings that God has given you. And that's uncalled for. That's not needed. God expects you to use the talent that he's giving you based on the capacity that he's giving you. God doesn't expect you to do what someone with 5 talents will do if he's giving you 1 talent. So why don't you get busy with what God has placed inside of you rather than looking at what God has placed inside of other people? I think there needs to be a shift. Look at yourself and look at the things that God has placed inside of you. And when you start to look inwards, in your heart, in your spirit, at the things that God has placed inside of you, you start to shine. You start to do the things that are expected of you. I think now is the right time for you to take a step, kind of backward and just reevaluate things and say, who am I chasing after? Where am I even running to? I am my own competition. I owe myself the duty of being the best version of myself. I owe myself the duty of being the realest version of myself, of unearthing the potentials that lie within me, not looking at other people and the potential that lies within them and think that I am nothing close to them. I'm speaking about this because I deal with issues of people coming up to me or looking at me and saying, "Oh God, you're doing a lot of things. Oh, wow, how do you just do? I just wish." No, stop wishing. You are you. Do the one thing you know how to do and do it well. And the world will come to your rising, will come to celebrate you. Do that one thing and the master is pleased with you. Don't look for other things if other things are not there. Just be content with what the master has given you. If it hasn't given you, he doesn't expect you to bring a fruit from a seed that he hasn't given you. He only expects you to bear fruit from the seeds that he's placed inside of you. And so, in summary, I want to say that go forth and shine and bear fruit with the seed that God has placed inside of you. Don't just sit down there and start to look for seeds that the master hasn't sown. Go and be fruitful with the one that he has sown. And the master is happy with you being fruitful with the seed he has sown in you. Catch you in my next video and don't forget to subscribe.